I'm singing along, man.
I'm good with that.
Welcome to the family with
Officer Dave.
And Andy Brant Bernard.
And Josh Arnold.
That wasn't very
Is
close,
that how
was
he
it?
talks?
Yeah, that wasn't very close to how he really talks.
Well,
was it?
you're not really. You just got to drop the pitch a little bit.
Really? I thought I had
Yeah.
to raise it a little bit.
Well, for you
From
and
that?
your voice, yes.
Yeah, from that.
But there's a happy medium. You went up too much.
Yeah,
Too
from-
much.
From
Okay.
the Harry from Home Alone voice you just did, yeah.
Now I just found out, and I'm very, very sad about this. I didn't know about it during the morning show. I would have mentioned it then.
Here he comes.
Oh, here he comes. Here comes that lame-o. I mean, one of my buddies. There you go. Oh, look at this.
Mr. Cool Breeze.
Cool breeze.
I got my
I know Cool
sunglasses.
Breeze,
Unbelievable.
Philadelphia.
Oh, I got some golf balls. I'm
There
going
you go.
golfing today.
Those add
Callaway.
distance.
They add distance. I need distance. Now you're talking.
Are they
Now
tit
you're
least?
talking.
No, these
No,
are
Callaway.
the new Chrome.
Where are you
Chrome
going? What are you doing?
I need a.
He needs headphones.
Oh.
Well, I
don't
could have
ask.
handed them
Nobody
to
will
you.
hand you anything.
Yeah, you know, honest to God, I thought you were sneaking
Well,
up.
I'll give you
sneaking
a
up
week to
on me.
stop that.
You'll give me a week to stop that.
Yeah, that feels good.
This is a professional here.
Oh,
There you
Ah,
go.
There you go.
Oh, it's on camera and everything. Oh, look at that. You could meet. I'm surprised you could reach your hand around the back of his neck. That worked out pretty well for you, man.
Well, some people, Donald Trump has small hands,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm always surprised, when people say he did stuff. Small hands, small feet. You notice that his big shoes fell off.
Small schwanz. Is that what you're getting to?
That's what we're getting at.
I knew that's what he was going to move on
boy.
to, ladies and gentlemen. One of those guys.
I wonder if that's ever actually been studied before, if there's actually an association there.
Between what, small hands and a small wiener?
Mhm.
Could be.
I wonder.
So Josh is telling us he knocked the bar off the pole vault.
Yeah, exactly.
Tried to-
No, I tried the pole vault when I first was in track, and we first had bamboo poles and then metal poles.
Oh, yeah,
Bamboo.
there you go.
And it was a sand pit,
Mhm.
Oh, God.
and then it was a sawdust pit.
Well,
I I got the bar. I could get and put the thing in the box.
Mhm.
And that's where it ended. And then I got up, and it was like, no. Slid right down the pole.
Can you imagine me trying to pole vault?
That'd be interesting.
That would be fun.
You'd
right
have to
there.
need a telephone
Snap.
pole. You have to
I'll
have the
tell
telephone
you
pole.
what, there was the scariest thing I remember from high school track was standing at the starting line for the mile. They're doing the pole vault, was right next to the starting line.
Mhm.
So a guy comes down, it was a bamboo pole, Collingswood High School. The guy goes up, and it's just as the gun is supposed to go off, we hear this monster crack.
Oh, God.
This guy is about halfway up. His bamboo pole snaps. You've got bamboo shooting at people,
Mhm.
and you hear the double click
Yeah.
of the starter's gun like it's a false start. That was scary because that pole was shooting across, and
Ooh.
everybody's looking at this guy laying on the
On the ground.
on the gravel.
Oh,
So it's like, oh, this is not
not
a good thing, because he was, he's tilting that thing, so he's backwards. That thing snaps. He's down on his head, probably from about 7 feet.
Ooh.
Had to
Oh.
clean him up before we could start the race.
Oh, my God.
Sweep him up.
Sweep him up.
Well, I got to start the show today with some bad news I did not know about. I would have mentioned it on the morning show as well, but I just saw the story pop up. Jack Farrell, Haskell's ahead of his time wine connoisseur and media personality, has died at age 82. I love Jack Farrell. He reached out to me decades ago, and I used to have lunch with Jack once in a while. Just a terrific guy, wonderful guy. Farrell, who owned the Haskell's chain, traveled to 6 continents for wine, made a name for himself during frequent radio and TV appearances in a career spanning 5 decades. There's a great picture of him, by the way. He's wearing his snazzy jacket. He was always a very well-dressed man, wine connoisseur, the whole deal. They refer to him as Jack Farrell, the bow-tied and mustachioed face of Haskell's liquor store. Became one of the Midwest's most celebrated wine connoisseurs over a 5-decade career in the Twin Cities. Died of a heart attack on July 27th. Oh my God, he died almost 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And they just announced it. He died near the family's lake cabin in Deerwood, Minnesota. He was only 82. I thought he was older than that. 82, huh? I don't know if he was only 82. But his death was confirmed by his family, who will assume control of Haskell's, the local chain known for its specialty wine selection. Farrell's frequent radio and TV appearances in the Twin Cities made him a local media personality. It's been a ride like no one ever believed, said his wife, Kathy. The places we visited, the people we've met, the reputation he's made for himself. Farrell of Minneapolis died at his family's cabin the same day his final appearance on WCCO's Saturday morning radio program Wine Chat was broadcast. With temperatures expected to reach into the 90s that weekend, he recommended the unsung, unheralded, and undiscovered white wines of Bordeaux to deal with the heat. Oh, man, that makes me very, very sad because
That is a sad story.
Yeah.
I would get the call from Jack and he'd say, meet me over here, meet me over there. We went to, either a club here, a club there. He just always such a very nice guy, very smart guy. Farrell purchased the store in 1970 along with 3 business partners, including former Minneapolis Laker George Mikan. I didn't know he was a partner with George Mikan. I never knew that. Eventually bought out all 3 of his other partners. Over the years, he learned much of the trade from his membership in the Wine and Spirits Guild of America, which organized traveling tips. Jack Farrell taught me a lot about wine. I got into wine starting when I was a little younger than Andy is now, I guess. So Jack and I talked about wine and this and that, the other things for 40 years, something like that. Why, we'll miss you, Jack. You are what a gentleman. Dressed very well, spoke very well, very smart guy. So we loved you, Jack, and we'll miss you, pal. 82 years old, too young to be dying. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry to hear that. That's sad.
What are you gonna do? I got one more paragraph, and then I will move on. While Farrell was ever the stylish man with refined taste, they said, he was still fond of treats such as Cheese Whiz.
You bring up Cheese Whiz, and there's a big. We can start a big debate relating to Cheese Whiz on Philadelphia cheesesteaks.
Oh my God!
I wonder what wine pairs with Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, maybe you talk about it.
I don't know. You'd have to start thinking. Okay, do you have cheese Whiz on your cheesesteak, or is it better to have provolone?
No,
just
Whiz.
like so.
That melts so much better and gets into all the nooks and crannies.
What the hell is Cheese Whiz actually? Like, what's it
It's a
made of?
spread. Well, it's a cheese flavored thing.
Yeah, it's not really
It's
flavored,
got to have
it's
cheese in it. It comes in a little
Spray
can,
can, yeah.
just like, and then you.
Was that Cheese Whiz, or is that because the Cheese Whiz I'm thinking of says Cheese Whiz is in a jar?
It's both.
Is
it comes in a jar?
I've seen Cheese Whiz comes in a little can.
Yep.
Shake up can, just like what's that stuff you put on?
Oh, you're
ice
thinking
cream.
of Easy Cheese. Oh wait, no. Cheese Whiz does come in an Easy Cheese form.
It does. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And there are 2 flavors. There's regular Cheese Whiz, and there's another one in the spray can, or not a spray can, but what are those
Aerosol
cans?
can.
Aerosol can. Yeah. There's 2
Ingredients. It is mostly canola oil and milk. In fact, that's pretty much what it is.
Doesn't cheese come from milk?
Yeah.
It does, but it's not cheese yet.
It has
It's
to be
still milk.
curdled.
It's whey and milk protein.
Oh, I
So
like
it's
that. The milk has to find its way.
Yeah, there you go. It
Is
has
that
not found.
I
its
told
way
you
yet.
he's a good comedian. What a sense of humor.
There you go. I got to be honest with you. I love spraying a little cheese on a cracker, man. That's phenomenal.
There's
A
nothing
little
better.
slice of cheese, whatever it is. I love cheese and crackers.
I tell you
Phenomenal.
though, Ellsworth cheese curds.
Yeah.
Not the kind you get at in the store here.
But in Ellsworth,
If
Wisconsin,
you go to the creamery and you get the actual cheese curds, that there is like a night and day difference in the taste of those cheese curds.
do they have it at Louis Finer Meats?
They might get it up there.
I
I know
love
it
Louis.
goes all over Louis Finer Meat, so that's up in Cumberland. I love
Yeah.
it. We used to go by that place every time we'd go to cable. We'd go by it. Dad, can we stop? No, we got to get to cable.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Because every time I go in there, Louis comes out and gives me a gift of wine or whatever. I always
Aw.
get a bottle of wine or something from Louis
That's
every time I
nice.
go in there.
That's nice.
Had a great guy, really good guy. Cumberland's a great town
Oh,
too.
beautiful.
It really
That whole stretch from basically you get north of Amory all the way up through Cable, all those little towns every 7 miles that follow the train tracks. Oh,
Yep.
man.
Josh, when did you move to the Twin Cities from the East Coast?
December of 1975.
75. So yeah, you would know this because Kristen Burt brought up the fact that when she lived in the Twin Cities, there were only about 3 good restaurants in the entire town. And she's basically talking about the same time you are. Did you notice when you got here that the restaurants, other than a few, were not very good?
No, it's the places that we got taken.
Mm-hmm.
The only place that I really did not like, oh, you've got to have Italian. This is Italian food, was Vecchio's downtown.
It was not good.
And they said, oh, you've got to have this stuff. Their spaghetti is tremendous. What great sauce. And thinking, this is ketchup.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Let me guess. It's sweet as hell.
Egg noodles and ketchup, like the end of Godfather. I got egg noodles and ketchup.
This
There you
is
go.
not Italian. It's got a great Italian name, but this is not Italian. So that was the only real downside. But there are plenty of other, good places.
Charlie's
Did find some
Cafe.
very good Italian places in
Yes,
St. Paul.
Yep.
Found those on my own. Found some very good Mexican restaurants
Mm-hmm.
in St. Paul.
Our new neighborhood now out there on Lake Street in Wayzata, you got Gianni's, which is phenomenal. You got Pure
Mhm.
Lima, you got Crisp and Green, there are tons of good restaurants out there.
Yeah,
within walking-
Cove is out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. A lot of
Yeah,
good.
we
I
went
mean,
to. I was given a gift
McCormick's,
card when I
baby.
retired for Giovanni.
Oh, Gianni's.
Gianni's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did they
really
make Did
good.
they make a steak small enough for you?
No, I had to order 2. I ordered 2.
You
and
ordered
the
2
and the
steaks?
potatoes. No, I didn't order 2.
Oh,
I just
Patty's
finished
good.
what my wife couldn't eat.
And Patty McCormick's a big listener to the show. You got to mention McCormick. I think Catherine and I are going to McCormick's for dinner tonight. As a matter of fact,
Nice.
it's right across the street. I mean, how lucky
How
is
can
that?
you not?
It's just wonderful. I love that woman. She's terrific.
Is that the
too.
same one that they've got a spot out in Maple Plain too? Is that
I
the
don't
same
know.
McCormick's?
Well, they own the Red Rooster, I know.
Okay.
Also.
Okay.
So I
Yep.
think you're absolutely right about that. I think,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. You know what I haven't been to out there where you're talking? God, Birch's
Oh,
on the lake.
Birch's on the Lake. That's a nice place.
It is really
Um,
good food. if
Used
I
to be
remember
Billy's Lighthouse out
Yeah,
there.
I
Yep.
mean, we've
Billy's
been out
Lighthouse.
there. It's
There
very
you go.
very
Yep.
nice. Food is, service is good.
Mhm.
What I call, or my father-in-law Walt Lubov would call value.
Mhm.
You got
a lot.
value.
You get a lot for the price.
Yep.
Setting is nice. Year round.
Yeah, that was when the kids were little, and back when it was Billy's Lighthouse, we would go out there with the kids, and the kids.
I forgot about Billy's Lighthouse.
We
That was a long
we
time
would.
ago.
That was our special place to go. If we had something to celebrate, we would go to Billy's Lighthouse.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And we were out there with the kids, and the waitress took care of us. Who took care of us was like and the kids were small. I mean, we're talking Sage and Fawny's age and
Yep,
Ethan's age.
yep.
And she says, you can bring those children here every day of the
Oh,
week.
that's very sweet.
And it was like, well, thank you. So we, went there as often as we could.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I always, then when Billy's closed and then they were trying to redo everything and it sat empty for a long time.
It did, yeah.
It was
Yep.
like years and years. And all the copper got stolen out of that when they started stealing copper.
Oh no.
All those water lines.
Oh,
and all
God.
oh
A
man.
mess.
Yep.
Who owned Billy's Lighthouse? I used to know this, but I don't remember.
I don't remember. I don't know that I would ever met him, being just the lowly peon that I am.
Oh, here we go. Here we go with that.
Yep.
But the food is a lot better. And I would
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with Kristen Burt that the food here now is much, much better.
Yep.
Look, Charlie's Cafe Exceptional was the #1 spot for me to go. Was it even open when you got here?
Yeah, Charlie's was
It's
open.
Still open? Yeah.
Where else did I like to go? Well, up in Northeast, the steakhouses that are up in
Oh, yeah, they're all phenomenal.
the
Jack's.
Northeast.
Jax does a great job over there. Billy's one of my dear friends.
And
No
also,
question.
so
Okay.
I never had a problem with anything other than finding good Italian food.
Billy, I have a joke that he loves, and I'm going to change the joke up just a little bit. What does a poor kid get for Christmas? Your bike. I love that. That's a good joke to tell a cop.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
really good cop joke right there. But no, Jack's is terrific, always has been. Murray's is wonderful, always has been, the great steakhouses.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget the name of the one over in the Fauché Tower.
Manny's.
Manny's, that's really good.
I've been
too.
to Manny's a few times. My wife, I've got a good picture of my wife, and she says, "You need to stand in front of the bull picture, though, to block the bull's balls there." So,
There you go.
I love Manny's. I got to know Roberta Mann's son, Johnny Brendan. Pretty well. Because Roberta lived in Deep Haven,
Oh,
and
do you have to arrest her?
I did not have to
Well,
arrest
that's
her,
good.
but
Glad
I
to
did
hear.
have to do CPR on her. when she
You
passed
did?
away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yep. So, when you talk about the Mann family, it's like I know the parts of the
really
Mann family
nice.
pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, they're very, very nice.
but Johnny took me there one day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal!"
No question about it.
Ooh.
There's no doubt about that. I'm just telling you. So,
Yep.
a lot of good places to go now.
Yep.
No question about it. Have you guys been to a movie theater in a while?
The last movie I went to was that one with what's his nuts, Reacher
What's
guy,
Oh, yeah.
the Angel one,
Was Tom? No, it's not Tom Cruise. Although
Alan Rickman,
Alan
Rickson or whatever.
Rickson. Yeah, something like this.
Whatever.
Alan
he's-
Rickman as
he is-
Jack Reacher.
He is 100% against the cops.
Really?
Yep.
But he's for getting millions of dollars to pretend to be one.
I have a
Exactly.
question for you. Why is anybody against the cops? Do they know what's going to happen
It's-
if there were no cops?
It's Hollywood. You have to
It's-
say
yeah,
these
I
things because
suppose,
otherwise
yeah.
you're not part of their cult.
Yeah, he's very much anti-cop.
Ooh.
How can you be anti-cop?
Because
Why?
because he just gets
Ugh.
parts of the information. The whole Breonna Taylor thing.
Yeah.
They just jump on that bandwagon. Here's the thing:
Mhm.
if the cops are serving a search warrant, I'll guarantee you they're coming in the door. Police search warrant
Mhm.
Yep.
on the floor. You reach for a gun. What do you think is going to
Yeah.
happen?
Well, not to mention,
Well,
he's
yeah.
probably thinking, "What do you need cops for? We can just hire mercenaries 24 hours a day."
Yeah, there you go.
What is it? A couple $1,000,000? Everyone's got that,
Yeah,
right?
everyone's got that
exactly.
much money.
Exactly.
No, I'll give you. I told this story before. The fact that it was a couple of cops that taught me what the world was all about. Because a friend of mine and I were walking down the street about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark out. 26th Avenue North. So the cops are kind of wondering, what are these guys doing
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock in the morning? It's dark out and they're wandering down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my friend had just gotten back from Vietnam. So I was talking to him about that and all the rest of it. And the cops came over and said, what are you guys doing? It was right in front of St. Anne's
Okay.
school. And they came over and said, what are you guys up to? And my friend had to say, of course, none of your business.
Yeah.
So the cop said, calm down. We're just, wanting to make sure that, no, I'm very serious. It's none of your business. I'm like, oh, God. So there are those little alcoves in the doors at St. Anne's School. So they took him into one alcove and me into another alcove. And the cop said to me, okay, this is going to be a nice, how old are you? And I said, I'm 17. He said, we're going to have a little instruction here. I'm going to ask you, what are you guys doing out? I said, he just got back from Vietnam, and that's probably why he's got such an edge, which saved him from getting the piss beat out of him. I will tell you that, the fact that he had just gotten back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I said, I just hadn't seen him in a long time, and we just got involved, and, you know, we wanted to talk more about how that was and how it affected him and all the rest of it. And that cop that day taught me a lesson. He said, you know, you guys were in big trouble when he was doing that. But now that you explain things, and I want you to know that's what a police officer's job is. I had to get the whole story. Now that I got the whole story, you're more than welcome to go home and all the rest of it. And I will never forget that.
Yeah.
Because the guy could have been a pain in the ass and beat the piss out of me if you want to. Yeah. Nobody'd see him do it because we were in that alcove.
That's the thing is that, you know, if a cop is doing his job right, he can be your best friend.
No doubt about it.
Even if you're screwing up, he can be your best friend.
Absolutely.
But you be a complete a-hole and it can go south on you really quick.
Why would you be an a-hole to a guy with a club and a gun? Why would you do that? That makes no sense.
A lot of people think, well, there's that other thing too. A little bit of alcohol gets involved, and you look at Keith Millard when he was and he got stopped for DWI, and my arms are more powerful than your guns.
Yep.
Yeah, sure they are. Okay.
I will never forget one time playing in a golf tournament, and I walked by a bunch of bushes, and the bushes are moving. And I look in there and I see this big white butt. And I said, what the hell is that all about?
Gotta go, you gotta go.
No.
Oh.
It was Keith Millard with a woman.
Oh.
I'm like, ooh. It's like, okay, let me keep on moving here.
I gotta keep on, move along. Nothing to see here.
It's a golf tournament. That's pretty good.
Oh, is that a golf tournament? Yeah, it's like, okay, he couldn't wait to get home. Is that the plan?
Is it the missus either?
No, this was a long time ago, but so he wasn't cheating on anyone. It was just he was engaged and couldn't wait to get engaged till after the golf tournament. So what are you going to do?
Wow.
But no, I never understood fighting authority. You know, questioning authority is one thing, but fighting it is completely different.
Yep. Well, it all depends on how you frame your questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, you can't do that to me. If I had $1 for every Facebook lawyer I've ever dealt with,
right,
Josh Arnold would be retired right
now. That'd be that deal.
You can't arrest me because I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
Yeah, I'm traveling, or I'm not doing anything illegal. Yes, you are. There's this thing called disorderly conduct, disturbing the peace. You know, you're out here screaming and hollering, and porch lights are coming on, and people are coming to the door. That's disorderly conduct. Yep. We can go to jail for that.
I should mention also that. You know, in my life, Lamont Dean was my mother's cousin. So he'd be my second cousin, I guess. He ended up being a detective on the Minneapolis Police Department, but he was just a street cop when I first met him. 4 years old, 1200 Spruce Place, downtown Minneapolis, where we're living. This gigantic cop, he's about your size. Gigantic cop. Now I'm 4 years old. Walks up and he goes, "What are you doing, kid?" And I'm like, I just keep looking up. Like, holy
fall over backwards.
I almost fell over backwards. He was one of the nicest men I have ever met. He was one of the first guys that remember Tonka trucks.
Love Tonka trucks.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys that put together the donations by Tonka trucks to children at Christmas time.
You know what Tonka's named after, don't you?
Minnetonka.
Yep,
absolutely.
Used to be right there on.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Where was the factory?
To me, it was right across from one of the lakes.
Yeah, it's right on Lake Minnetonka.
It is.
Literally,
was that technically on Mound?
It was in Mound.
Technically, it was in Mound. Yes.
Yep. Mound or Spring Park, one of those two.
Now it's in Rhode Island.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
It's in Rhode Island now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. But it's County Road 15 that runs right out there.
Yep.
You know.
That's Two-Lane Road, and I remember first time I was out that way and passed it. Oh my goodness! I got to stop in. They've got to have a store. I've got to get another fire truck.
Yep. That was big deal.
That was one of my big time toys. First big Tonka truck. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fire truck.
Everybody had them Tonka trucks that were indestructible.
No, you could not.
You couldn't. You could run a car over the dang things and
That's true.
you
they
blow
were-
the tire and wreck the.
They were die cast, yeah.
Oh no, they were solid metal
They
yeah?
were
when they
beautiful.
Were. Oh,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh, the really
they
old
punched
ones.
them out. They punched them out of solid steel.
Why does the cop have to say punched him out? You hear that? You see this behavior? Josh,
Why,
I
you
got-
weren't watching Olympic boxing?
I did not watch Olympic boxing. How'd that go?
Well, there's some very interesting stories
Yeah, there sure are.
from Olympic
I
boxing.
got to be honest with you. Why? I got nothing against trans. One of my best friends is transgender. He went from a man to a woman. God bless him. I love the guy. I'm not judging him. But you can't allow a muscular former man to beat the piss out of women. What are you doing?
Man, we talked about this last week. The muscle
Mhm.
structures are so completely different.
Yes, you can't do that. Get
Well,
your
the
own
argument
division.
is that she was never a man, even though she has XY chromosomes, but technically she's intersex, but there's no evidence of any of it.
No, I don't understand. It just that'd be. They have weight divisions for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You
That
know,
is true. What does does Olympic
boxing has
have,
Olympic boxing
Yep.
has weight.
well,
That'd be
weight
like me
divisions.
and
well,
me
those-
and Josh stepping into the ring.
yeah, those two fighters were clearly not in the same weight
Heck,
class then.
Heck, or what is it? Because these guys reported earnings this week. TKO, which is a combination of Worldwide Entertainment or Worldwide Wrestling and the Ultimate Fight Championships, they have weight classes. I mean,
Right.
the WWE
they do.
has weight classes. You know, I'm not going to be fighting you in a WWE event.
Remember that Sammy Davis Jr. boxing bit with Will Chamberlain?
Oh God! Oh God!
He's looking and he's just between his belly button and his.
Yeah, different deal, man. No question about it. But I just, Josh, I got to talk to you about this because yesterday I decided while driving home that I don't want to be involved in politics anymore. I've gotten to the age where I'm handing it off to the next generation,
Mhm.
because I'm looking at these guys. I don't like these people. It's all about money. Has it always been all about money, money, money? How much money I can make?
I would think it's been.
It's always been about money.
It all-
And
all the
way
I would
back
say, I
to-
remember my father telling me, son, let me just explain something to you. Somebody is running for an office
Mhm.
that has no money. When they come out of the
Oh,
office,
yeah.
you see the house that they own? Yeah. You see
Yeah.
the house that the mayor owns?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's because he had this Chevy dealership.
No.
Yeah, he does have a Chevy dealership, but you see that house, he has a Chevy dealership. I'm not sure that he could do that well.
Right.
People go into politics. They do not make a lot of money going in, but they get a lot of money while they're in.
Yes.
And then when they come out, how does somebody like, we'll say, Billy Bob go into politics with not a lot of money,
Mhm.
a lot of debt, and comes out of the presidency bankrupt
Mm-hmm.
and moves to New York, has not a mini mansion, a mansion.
Yep.
Mansion.
And then all of a sudden, you have the Clinton Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. No
And
question about
that's that does not account for any of his speaking fees,
Right.
where he picks up,
it. Right.
a couple $100,000 just for speaking. And he's not the only one, but that's an extreme
Mm-hmm.
example. The Bush family, they were rich going in, richer coming out.
Yes.
Mhm.
The Kennedy family, rich going in, much richer coming out.
Right.
If I go to back to the Roosevelt family
Yeah.
or families, that's another story. But there's just a lot of wealth that comes, that comes in there. Yes,
Right.
it's about the money.
Yeah.
I did hear something this morning while I was out on my run and walk. Used to be just straight up run, but as I've aged, now I have to walk. Then I can run a little bit, walk a little bit, run a little bit. When I was much younger, that used to be called fartlek. As a training method, you could walk. You could look it up. Fartlek.
I'm good.
Okay.
I don't need to look it up.
Lick and fart together.
No. I'm good.
Fartlek.
I'll take his word for it.
So anyway, I was listening to a podcast from Barry White. It's called Honestly, and it was on choosing the governor of Minnesota to be vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of the introduction, Vice President Harris introduced him as not a member of the elite.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And I'm like, he's just a regular guy. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's not a member of the elite. Is that saying that she's a member of the elite?
Yeah, that's a good point.
No.
And I was starting to think, and then it's like, he's a regular guy. Yeah, he is a regular guy. Looks like a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hunts, fishes, wears flannel shirts, lives in a very nice house. As Joe Souchere said, maybe the state wants to take a $5 million house that's on Summit Avenue and put $10 million into it to make it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not living there. He's living in the president's of the University of Minnesota's house, which they had to fix up for him. So I would say, yeah, you're a regular guy, but living in an awfully elite life.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, I said, there is a big difference, when you say you want to get out of politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can get out of politics, but it's going to hit you in the face on a constant basis.
Yep.
in the news. There is going to be some minor effect on your life, based on some regulations that are passed, and most of that is going to be higher taxes, meaning that you're going to have less money. It could be in another form of a tax, higher tariffs that'll come in. But one of the things that really struck me, and it was not just about, we'll say, Governor Walz, but also President Biden. Their, I'm not going to say hatred of business and of small business, but definite not a like.
Mm-hmm.
They do not own, and they are proud of the fact, they don't own stocks. Do not own stocks, at least directly. Now they do. I'll say both of them have served their entire life in government or working for a government agency.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So no experience whatsoever
in the real world,
in the working world. Now somebody could say, well, Walz was a teacher and a football coach, and he was reasonably successful as a football coach in Mankato. Okay. But has to be a proven motivator, because his football team went from 0-8 to winning a state championship, from what I understand. But as a teacher, never put any money into stocks or stock-related mutual fund, only in annuities. And insurance annuities are investing in corporate bonds or government bonds, looking for a guaranteed return, no risk. His assets that he has listed, no stocks, no bonds, just annuities and his pensions.
What about his wife?
Same
like
thing.
The whole Tina Smith thing. Did you hear about that?
His wife and Tina Smith?
No. Well, this no, not like that. So Tina Smith's husband makes this large investment in some healthcare company. Tina Smith is on the healthcare committee.
Oh, the healthcare committee.
Or I don't know the exact names.
In the Senate.
And all of a sudden, he makes all this money from a company that she may or may not have known was going to get a government contract.
And she did not recuse herself when that was discussed.
I don't know that she's apparently all of a sudden here's all this money that's coming in from this company that she has this knowledge of. So it's not confirmed, but that's what
that's Tina Smith. I'm just
right. And you're talking Tim Walz.
Tim Walz's wife.
By the way, if he walked in the door, I'd get up and walk out.
Okay. I've never met the man.
I don't.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yep. No,
here's somebody. He's an educator, tremendous. His wife is an educator, tremendous. He served in the National Guard, tremendous. Do not like his policies. Okay, that's my view.
Yep.
But I look and say, you don't own any stocks. Never owned stocks. Never participated in a business and have an enemy against business. And you're just another person like Biden who says business is bad, government is good, government will solve all problems.
Yep.
And I don't see that.
You and I are on the same page on that one. Yep.
And by the same token, I can understand. Okay, the guy is not part of an elite, but yes, you are part of the elite. Yes, you have worked your way up from the bottom in the Democratic Party to the top by following whatever the
party line is.
The party line is. You may not be as left wing, as your policies indicate, but
you're following the party line.
But you're following the party line, and as we've talked last week, the party is moving to the left, very much to the left, and I think a large chunk, the Republican Party, is moving the same way, except for
to the other direction. The other side.
No, the Republican Party is moving more to the left. They're not complete right-wing nut jobs, nor but there are an awful lot of Democrats who would be left-wing nut jobs in my view. And I'm just talking, and that's just how they present their policies. But Walz definitely falls in with, we'll say, so far, whatever policies she has stated or talked about with Harris's policies, very much to the left. And the media has said, yeah, here you've got a California liberal and somebody who has pushed Minnesota to be like California.
Cold California, yep.
Not something that I could vote on.
With what he's done to my brotherhood and my career, people in my career, I can't support him at all. And what I've seen him do, and I give that gal out in Pope County all the credit in the world. When her husband was shot a couple of years ago, she said, "Don't you even think about coming to the funeral."
Mm-hmm.
She told him, "You stay away."
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Andy, being in your generation, do you think that it's fair to you that this is all happening? I mean, your life has a future, and yours does too. Josh and I are kind of,
We don't have a future.
we're not a long
bunch
one.
of bullshit. We've got a long future. Got a long future.
And as an example, I'm talking about, I don't think I've ever known, and maybe I erased it from my memory, but I have never seen people so incredibly mean to one another as they are right now. They're incredibly mean. And then there's no social being anymore.
No.
I counted today. I went for a walk and I walked past, well, I should say I was headed one direction. 12 people were headed the other direction.
Nobody stopped and said hi.
One person. And I said, good morning. 11 of the 12 didn't even respond to that. I mean, no courtesy whatsoever. And I was only doing it to test the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And the one person who said, good morning, was a very pretty woman. So she had a lot of confidence, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people are being chased into a corner. And Andy, I want your take on this because of your age. People are being chased in a corner. They're terrified of one another. They're pissed off of one another. They hate people. I wouldn't give anybody the time of day to hate them.
Right.
It's a complete waste of time hating anyone. I just have gotten to the point, I don't want to hear about any of this stuff anymore. I'm handing it off to Andy's generation. It's probably the right thing to do. But I literally, in my lifetime, I've never seen a period where there's this much hatred toward one another just because of politics. Like, my God, it's hideous, don't you think?
I'd agree. People, and I'm not sure when it started, but
yeah,
but definitely since 2015. Trump is the end of the world.
No, it was the end of the world. I remember.
I'm thinking, end of the world.
Well.
I got to think of what was he The Apprentice. That was on NBC.
I believe so. Yeah.
NBC did not think Trump was the end of the world.
No, they did rather well on there.
Okay, until he decided to run for president, then he's the end of the world. I'm thinking, you guys made an awful lot of money off this guy's shows, and you're still making money off the syndication.
Mm-hmm.
He is not the end of the world. I mean, I can say a few other things about him, but he's not, the guy's not the end of the world.
Right.
He is not somebody I want to play golf with. He's not somebody I want to go to lunch or dinner with. Excuse me.
And I've actually done that. I had lunch with him when he was president of the United States. He invited me to lunch. And I do have a picture of us standing together. I used to be 6'1". I'm now 5'11". I've lost 2 inches of height. He says he's 6'3". In that picture, we're the exact same height. So I don't know what to tell you there. But Andy, I want your take on this. What your generation, what's your view of the world? Is it as harsh for you as it seems to be for us?
I mean, the 60s were pretty crappy.
Yeah, they were.
The 20s, 30s, and 40s were pretty crappy. Every generation's gone through something very similar to this.
I don't think the 60s were crappy.
Oh no, you got the Vietnam War, race riots, assassinations.
They burned my neighborhood to the ground.
I mean, it's I'd have to say it depends on where you were.
It does.
Well, yes.
There were some awful things that took place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's basically my point. It's like at some point, at any given point, somewhere in the world, something horrible is happening to someone or to some group of people. So it's like, that's one of the favorite retorts is like, if I said, oh, I wish, we could go back to 2000 or whatever, when I was a kid and, life was better. and they'd say like, oh yeah, well, what about such and such tribe getting genocided at the time? It's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm not literally saying we should go back in time and resume all the genocides of the time, but that's people like to focus on the negatives, even if you are trying to be positive.
Yeah,
they do.
And there's always going to be a negative happening somewhere that's, bad enough. Everyone acts like today is like the age of enlightenment and we've all figured everything out if only people would vote the right way.
Right.
In 20 years, their kids are going to be saying, oh, well, what about the, Great Plague of 2025 or whatever? 10 million people in some country died. Well, we weren't really affected by that.
Right.
As harsh as that sounds, the world's a big place. There's always something bad happening somewhere.
That's true.
Well, right now, the Eastern Hemisphere is the most hateful it's ever been. There may be a civil war in England, if you can believe. They're talking about a civil war in England. I had never even considered that to be the case. I got a call, a friend of mine in Canada, Canadian guy, lives in Toronto. He's from Canada, great guy. He talked to me about the same thing. He said, I cannot believe the hatred in Canada. I don't remember it ever being that way. It tended to be a pretty liberal country all along.
Oh, I would say that one of the first times I was in Canada. Nope, it was not the first time. It was one of the later times I was in Canada. So I was in graduate school. We did a trip to Toronto for one of my urban planning classes. And the people that I talked to there made a big point. Do not move here. We don't want you Americans here.
That's right.
You've come up here. You've taken our jobs. You've hurt our quality of life. You spend too much money, and you're always complaining.
You spend too much money. That's an unusual.
Yeah. Wow.
And this was not just, one or two people. I was like, man, I was just in shock. Toronto, I thought, was just a gorgeous city.
Beautiful city.
And I said, boy, I would like to, this would not be a bad place to live. The weather, because we were up there in the winter, the weather was
pretty mild.
It was pretty mild compared to what it was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
When we were driving through. So we were going from Akron and we drove.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Drove around the lakes and go through Buffalo. And I'm like, man, Buffalo is at that point, boy, that's more depressed than Camden, New Jersey. Which goes, and then you get to Toronto. Oh, this almost a city of lights, just gorgeous. But to be told,
don't come here.
Don't come here. It's like, okay, you know what? I've always made a pact. Do not go places where you're not welcome.
No, I understand.
I mean, that could be within a city.
Yeah.
I'm not running up to North Minneapolis and have not gone, specifically up to North Minneapolis for a lot of years because of something that happened to me up there. Just trying to be nice and helpful, and I ended up in a little potential problem.
Yeah.
That was resolved very, very quickly.
By turning tail and
no, it was just I was driving up Penn Avenue on my way. That time I had a chiropractor who was at Broadway and Penn.
Okay.
As I'm driving up Penn, I see stopped at a light, and there's an accident on the other side of the street. Kid looked like he had been hit by a vehicle.
Oh.
So there's a vehicle stopped. There were a bunch of people around. I'm stopped, and I happen to have a phone in my car. I see this. I roll down the window. Do you need help? Do you want me to call somebody? Somebody comes over. Yeah, can I use your phone? Here's the phone. What number do you want me to dial? I got the phone.
Cord out there, yeah.
The cord out there, put the phone back in. I drive along the further up, and I start noticing some, flashers behind me coming up very fast.
Really?
Very fast. And I'm almost where I was going, and the car comes up very fast, and police behind pull off to the side. I pull off to the side. They come behind me.
I thought it was a drug deal.
And the guy one guy is on one side. Other guy comes up, taps on the window. The guy behind me, because I can see because I got two mirrors, he's unholstered.
Whoa, man.
And I get a tap on the window. The other guy's got his hand
on his gun.
Yeah. On his gun. I've got a suit and tie on. And could you step out of the car? We have a report that you hit a kid.
Oh my God.
And I said, excuse me? I said, the same thing that you had with the two cops explained the situation.
Yeah.
I stepped out of the car. Here's what happened. If you want, here's my phone. You can check it out.
Mm-hmm.
They walked around the car. There's no marks on the car. We apologized, and off I went. I'm not going to this neighborhood again. Somebody does not want me or is going to make trouble in this neighborhood. Fine. I don't need to come here. Plenty of other places to go. Same. I had situations like that in other places where I've run. Nope, not running here. But when you talk about friendliness or people being mean, when I first moved here and I'd be out running. Now, of course, there were not as many runners out, but if you passed any runner, no matter how fast or slow they were going, hi, how are you? Or there are numerous times I would just stop and say, hey, do you want some company?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people, oh yeah, sure. And it always could meet somebody new that way. But as time went on,
oh yeah,
and there are more runners on the road, just like ice, you'd pass somebody.
That's how it is now.
And it's like, what is this? I'm just saying hi. Yep. I'm not out to beat you or be mean to you. Just say hi.
Well, now if you took that, just the saying hi to somebody, and you compare you to me, physically, size-wise, people are so intimidated by me. Just
no doubt about it.
Am I that big of a PRICK?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you're the type of guy that I would definitely say, hi, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
And it's a lot of people are, I don't want to meet you in a dark alley. No, I'm the guy you want in the dark alley with.
It's like my son Judd. Judd has a friend named Brad. My son Judd he might be about 5'8". And when he was first in New York City, he tells a story. He went out, he and Brad and a bunch of his hedge fund buddies were out at night, and they're out at a bar, and the bars in New York City, they come a little crowded at a certain point in time, and somebody started picking on Judd. Judd says, you don't want to do this. Well, why not? You little punk.
Oh God.
What are you going to do? What do you got? Judd says, well, I've got a Brad. This guy says, a Brad? What is a Brad? I've never heard of a Brad. Judd just turned around, and Brad was just right behind him. Brad comes over. Brad's your height, and just one of these triangle type guys. And this guy says, Oh. There's no way.
Oh. All right. Any close? One thing we did avoid today, and we didn't avoid it. We just didn't talk about it. But one of the things that pushed me down the line is the treatment of people of the Jewish faith. I am sick of it, and I don't want to hear it anymore. And I told anybody, you bring it up in front of me, just get the hell away from me, because they don't know how in 2024 we're treating an entire group of people like this. I don't even want to talk about it. It's disgusting to me.
So you didn't hear Cori Bush's attack?
Oh, now what?
Okay, because
she lost.
Now she said I'm coming after your kingdom.
The Jews?
Yeah. Well, and specifically AIPAC, for supporting her opponent and providing money to her opponent so that she lost her primary.
Mm-hmm.
So she is one of the squad, so to speak.
Yeah, the one squad.
And she lost to somebody who was more in the center of the Democratic Party, and she said, "Well, it was AIPAC. I'm coming after your kingdom."
How is she going to come after your kingdom? That's what I'd like to know.
I don't have the what did she say? The strings attached that I had as a congressperson. You can look up the quote from that, and it is very interesting. A guy, when you talk about, going after the Jews or whatever, the other day I'm at Jimmy's for lunch, and there's a gentleman who I see all the time, always sits at the bar. I think his name is Harold, or we'll say his name is Harold. Usually he's by himself, but a lot of times he's with a number of former Vikings. And they've played golf together, and we've had several conversations. So I was walking out the other day, and he, hi, how are you? And he pulls out his phone, and I'm looking at, he is at a picture with he and Walls. And I give a snide remark like, "So how much did you have to pay him for that picture?" And he looks at me, and I said, "It's a politician. Anytime you take a picture with a politician,
cost you something.
It's going to cost you something." He said, No, it was free. It was free. I said, "Fine, it was free." And then he asked me what I thought of the pic, and I said, "Perfect pick for her. They're of the same ilk." I said, "But I thought there were better choices out there." And he said to me, they didn't want the Jewish guy.
There you go.
And I'm
unbelievable.
And I'm saying, nope, that's didn't want the Jewish guy.
All right, so there's a bright note to close on.
No, we got some other bright things you can close on. The stock market this week had a nice little rebound after, we'll say, the flash crash on Monday. Next week we have some economic news coming out that could hopefully get the Fed to start considering the possibility seriously of cutting interest rates. We have the CPI numbers come out, retail sales numbers come out, and then you also have retail earnings start reporting in earnest. And I say retail, that's Walmart, Home Depot, Target already had reported. Costco is going to report. So it's going to be an interesting week to see how consumers are actually dealing with things.
I like it. We will talk to you guys later.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
singing reminds me of this was before. Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking